If there's something that you have not accomplished yet in your life that you really want to, and you're frustrated by it, chances are that fear is in some way attached to the fact that you haven't had the results. A lot of times, we don't even try because we're afraid that if we try and it still doesn't work out, then it's going to prove that we're not good enough. And that's the fear of not being good enough. And then there's also the fear of, what if everybody hears about what I want to try and they tell me, don't even bother because you're not good enough. And that's the fear of being rejected. But there is another fear at play that is so ingrained in us that we often don't think about. And that is the fear of change. If you think about your life, you probably wake up at almost the same time every day. You probably have pretty much the same thing for breakfast every day. And you drive to work or to school or wherever you're going and take the same route every day. We don't like change as people. We get used to something, and once we're used to it, we want it to be the same way every day. But growth comes from change. Achieving whatever goal that you want comes from changing what you've been doing, because what you've been doing hasn't been working. Think about this. If you are working or if you're a parent, either way, if somebody comes to you and says, we need to talk, I want to make some changes around here. Your thought is, oh my, this is terrible news. Changes are going to be made. Maybe the changes might be, I want to give you an extra day off from work. Maybe the changes is we're going to bring in extra people to help you achieve this because there's too much on your shoulders. Maybe the changes is we all want to help out around the house more. But when we hear the word change, we freak out. You don't need to freak out about change. Change is good. You need to reframe how you actually look at change and understand that behind it is that big bad monster of fear. And fear, if it's allowed to run loose, is never going to allow you to move forward. So today, I want to actually give you a few different tools on how to actually handle fear when it shows up. The first thing is, I want you to make a list of the top 10 fears that you have in your life right now. These are going to point to the areas that you really should be heading. So if you fear public speaking, you probably should be doing public speaking. If you fear always writing that book, you've always wanted to write that book, but you fear taking the chance and starting, you should be starting to write that book. So write down fears, not fear of, getting in a car accident or real fears that make sense. Fears that are more personal to you. Write these fears down. And then I want you to look at the 10 fears and I want you to tackle them one at a time and say, if I actually handled this fear and faced it, what could happen for me? What is possible in a positive way? What is possible if I actually face this fear, and how would I grow? Go one at a time, go through the whole list and tackle that. How would I grow if I faced this fear? If I actually did finally decide to start writing that book, how would that help me? Well, it would give you confidence. It would make you feel less regret. It would make you feel like you were moving towards something. So you get a lot of positive things from that one little pain point of facing that fear. The second thing I want you to do is I want you to make a list of 5 or 6 things where you overcame fear. This can be small. This can be big. I mean, if you were afraid of going on an airplane and you were able to do it, put that down. Give yourself a big pat on the back, because this is where you've slayed fear in the past. It's where you've showed up against fear and you prove to yourself that you can, in fact, face fear and take fear out of the equation. So write this list down. And again, it doesn't have to be huge. It can be, I asked somebody out on a date. Even if it didn't go well, even if they didn't say yes, the fact that you did it, you face fear. It could be you interviewed for a job that you thought that maybe you were underqualified for, and you went in and gave it your best shot. That is facing fear. The third thing I want you to do is reframe the way that you're thinking about this fear. Because if you're fearing, public speaking is a good one, because I actually have that fear. And I have to do it all the time, but it's still inside of me. And sometimes I get really nervous and sometimes I don't, but I keep pushing myself. So instead of saying, what if I go up there and I lose my breath? What if I go up there and my knees start clanking together? What if I go up there and I forget everything that I was supposed to say? Of course, that's going to make me more fearful, and that's going to make my anxiety get higher, and it's going to make me less likely to be good at what I'm doing. So instead, ask yourself the positive side of that question. What if I go up there and I give the best speech I've ever given in my life? What if I go up there and I come up with something even better than what I had planned off the cuff? What if I go up there and my speech is so good that it changes somebody's life? Now, when I'm walking into that speech, I've visualized myself in a positive way and not a negative way. And the next one is exactly that. It's visualization. If you are fearing something, whatever it is, if it's writing a book or taking an airplane even. You have to visualize through your eyes everything going exactly as you hoped it would go, everything going perfectly through your eyes. You gotta take a deep breath and just see through your eyes. What does it look like? What does it sound like? What does it feel like? And adjust all the colors and the distance between you and the objects to make it exactly perfect as you want it. And imagine everything going right. This is your chance to go into the future and create this memory, a future memory that you're going to drive toward. It's not a hope, it's not a wish, it's not a goal. You're actually creating a future memory that you are now associated to. So of course it's gonna go well, as opposed to what you're probably doing, which is sitting around thinking of all the ways it might not go well, and that's what will end up happening. So what you think is what will be. Remember that. The cave that you fear often holds the treasure you seek. That is a great quote by Joseph Campbell. I think about that quote all the time, and it helps me to figure out where my North Star is, because I go, what am I fearing right now? That's probably the direction that I should be heading in. Fear will point you in the right direction. Don't run from fear. Embrace fear. And if you like this video, please subscribe. I offer videos like this all the time.